The gospel story for today is the final chapter of Matthew's gospel. After the Sabbath, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord, descending from heaven, came and rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing white as snow. For fear of him, the guards shook and became like dead men. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid. I know that you were looking for Jesus who was crucified. He's not here, for he has been raised, as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has been raised from the dead, and indeed he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. This is my message for you." So they left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy, and they ran to tell Jesus' disciples. Suddenly, Jesus met them and said, "Greetings." And they came to him and they took hold of his feet and worshipped him. And then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers and sisters to go to Galilee, and there they will see me." While they were going, some of the guard went into the city and told the chief priests everything that had happened. After the priests had assembled with the elders, they devised a plan to give a large sum of money to the soldiers. Now you know where hush money comes from. Telling them, "You must say his disciples came by night and stole him away while we were asleep. If this comes to the governor's ears, we will satisfy him and keep you out of trouble." So they took the money and did as they were directed. And this story is still told to this day. Now, the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had directed them. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. And Jesus came and said to them, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything that I have commanded you. And remember, I am with you always to the end of the age." Thus ends the reading of the Word. Someone asked me on Wednesday afternoon, March the 2nd, how I went about preaching Easter. I wasn't sure what that person wanted to know. Perhaps he wanted to know if I believed in the story of the resurrection. I guess among pastors there must be some doubt. Perhaps he wanted to know if I had a good and interesting formula for telling the story. After all, it's pretty much the same each year. Sort of like the Christmas story, pretty much the same each year. Perhaps he wanted to know if I examined the story top to bottom, focusing on the details or lifting up the personalities of the people involved. What I told him was that I depict the drama of Easter because it is a great drama. There are people who come into this sanctuary on Easter Sunday morning never having celebrated Easter with us before. They are caught off guard by the black material draped over the pulpit and the cross and the railings. They were hoping for a hymn sing, but there's none. Only this strange silence looms as they wait and wonder what the heck is going on. attended an Easter vigil every year at the Episcopal Church in Ontario. And the Easter vigil started at 11 p.m. My friend was the priest there. It was a 3-hour vigil with music and prayers and responsive readings. When at last it was ended, the patio outside the sanctuary erupted in fireworks. The drama of Easter deserves fireworks. We must never discount this event. We must never consign its significance to fantasy. Matthew's version of the story is pure drama with all sorts of characters. The risen Christ makes an entrance pretty late in the story, but it's the characters who first encounter the empty tomb that set the tone. We must never hear the story as matter of fact, or as fantastic, or as unfathomable. It is a huge story, fashioned not for Jesus, but for the disciples of Jesus, and for all of us, for every human being on the planet through time and space over thousands of years. It is a story that does not negate any part of God's story in the past. It simply adds to it. God's story evolves, creating new visions, new ideas, and new opportunities for us to live this life fully. That is what the resurrection is about. It is about embracing change and the opportunity to live today differently from yesterday. The opportunity to view the world today differently from yesterday. God is all about change. Look at your body. It's always changing in ways you can't even see. The biggest organ in your body is your skin, says Dr. Deevan Doshan. He writes that human skin is made up of 3 layers, each with its own important parts. The layer on the outside is called the epidermis. The epidermis is the part of your skin that you can see. Look down at your hands. Just look for a minute. Even though you can't see anything happening, your epidermis is hard at work. At the bottom of the epidermis, new skin cells are forming. When the cells are ready, they start moving up toward the top of your epidermis. This trip takes about 2 weeks, maybe even a month. As newer skin cells continue to move up, older cells near the top die and rise to the surface of your skin. What you see on your hands and everywhere else on your body are really dead skin cells. These old cells are tough and they're strong, just right for covering your body and protecting you. But they only stick around for a little while. Soon they'll flake off. Though you can't see it happening, every minute of the day, you are losing 30 to 40,000 dead skin cells off the surface of your skin. So, about every 2 weeks, we have a new coat of skin. While you were listening to me read this, you probably lost 40,000 cells. That's almost 9 pounds of cells every year. Your epidermis is always making new skin cells that rise to the top to replace the old ones. 95% of the cells in your epidermis are always at work making new skin cells. That is the essence of God. Always making all things new. I grew up on the East Coast, where we experienced 4 very distinct seasons. I remember being instructed to read an article in Scientific American for my 9th grade biology class about how and why the leaves of our trees change color in the autumn. In the autumnal equinox, the days grow shorter and the nights grow cooler, causing the production of chlorophyll in leaves to decline. The other pigment molecules of the leaf then reflect the light. That is the carotene molecule and the xanthophyll molecule and the anthocyanins. And the leaves that were once green with chlorophyll are now yellow and orange and red. As the season gets cooler, the leaves cannot survive. They die and they fall to the ground. The tree is barren, is dormant, in suspended animation, until the days become warmer and longer, and the ground thaws, and the tree comes to life again, sprouting green shoots from its branches, and everything is new again in the spring. And photosynthesis is in full swing, and the once barren, lifeless-looking trees are festooned with lush green leaves like some fabulous spring chapeau. All of creation is always changing. What God wanted to communicate to us today is that no matter what God can and does make everything new. No matter what, God can and does make everything new. And please don't concentrate on the Easter message as a promise of life after death. God's message is much more poignant than that. No matter what humankind does, no matter what the powers and principalities of earth do, God is with us. Christ, our Emmanuel, is with us. God, who is the source of life, the source of our being, of every breath we take, offers us life today. The resurrection of Jesus cancels out all efforts that were made to stop the forward movement of God's kingdom message. The resurrection says no to giving up. The resurrection says no to exclusive ideas about God and who God has chosen and to whom God is partial. The resurrection says no to trying to bury the good news. The resurrection says no to holding back the gospel message. The resurrection says no to the powers that be. No to those who think they are in control. No to those who are sure that they have all the answers. No to those impressed with their own righteousness. No to those who judge and condemn out of ignorance. No, no, no to those who condemn out of fear and jealousy, those who would attempt to hold back the good news of the gospel from every beating human heart. God, contrary to some popular opinion, is not an exclusive God. God is inclusive, proven in the story of the two Testaments. God longs to love humanity. God is working overtime to get our attention, to bring us into new life, not once, but over and over and over again. God is ever working in us and with us, converting, not just once, but over and over and over again. God promises surprise. As a matter of fact, no one is better at it. If we can be matter-of-fact about the message of the resurrection, if we can be laissez-faire about the dramatic events of Easter, then someone needs to plunge us into a cold shower and wake us up. Hey, didn't you see? There's an angel who appeared like lightning, sitting on the same rock that sealed the tomb and has now been rolled away as if it was a tiny pebble. The angel scared the pants off those soldiers while directing the Easter morning traffic at the entrance of the tomb. Ladies, 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 you have nothing to fear. I know you came looking for Jesus who was crucified, but he isn't here. God has raised him, and as he said he would, come in and take a look at the place where he lay. The angel taps his fingers, while the ladies scratch their heads and shrug their shoulders and perhaps wail their grief until the angel interrupts them and says, okay, now go quickly and tell the rest of the disciples that he has been raised from the dead and he is going ahead of you to Galilee. And that is where you will see him. Now, hurry, hurry, go, go, go. This is my message for you. Matthew can't resist telling us that not only did the women get to see the angel dispatching the soldiers from his perch on the rock at the entrance of the tomb, but as they were running back to tell the rest of the disciples what they saw, Jesus, risen from the dead, says, "Hello!" They recognized him, and they came to him, and they fell at his feet, and again were told by the risen Christ himself, "Do not be afraid. Go, tell the rest of my brothers and sisters to go to Galilee, and there they will see me." Matthew finishes out his gospel with the 11 men disciples, and I'm sure the 8 women disciples, going to the mountain in Galilee, probably that mount of the Sermon on the Mount, where they received their first in-service instructions to be disciples of Jesus. There they see him. There they worship him. And there Matthew tells us that some still doubted. His disciples still doubted. Jesus announces to them, as if to try to eradicate their doubt, "Listen, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go out and make disciples of all nations. Baptize them in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Teach them to obey all of the commandments that I have given you." And his final words, "Remember, remember, I am with you always. I am with you always. I am with you always." And the Greek word is translated daily. I am with you day by day by day by day, even to the end of the age. God doesn't really need you or me to speak to humankind. God is already very articulate. And what God may not say in words, God will demonstrate in actions. Day by day, day by day. We are being changed. Do not be afraid.